Okay, so today we're looking at Matt here on the left. Matt's contacted me via Facebook and asked me to have a look at his swing. So I've got him to email me his swing, and we've got him here on the left. And we're seeing a couple of problems here, Matt. It's a good swing. There's a lot of good movements. Let's just run it through here. You're going to hit some decent shots with this swing, but you've got a couple of slightly glaring faults, which you're always going to be fighting if you don't fix them. Now, from this angle, I can't quite see what's going on with your grip, but we can see by the way you're swinging, or I can see by the way you're swinging, that your grip doesn't look quite right in relationship to the club face. And what this does, it makes you fight the club face throughout the whole swing. So let me show you what I mean. Got you on the left here, Matt, me on the right. Let's just watch your takeaway to start. So this is where it all starts to go a little bit wrong. As you take the club back, not only do you move the club what we'd call outside the line, so you pick the club out to the right of the ball, the other thing you do is you get the club face very, very close, so what would be pointing left at this stage. If you watch me on the right here making a more of a textbook backswing, if you like, you can see how the club's moving straighter to inside away from the ball, and the club face is pointing a little bit more toe end up to the sky, so it's not as closed. Now, the reason I think it's your grip is you can see a little bit here in your picture how your right hand and your left hand have reacted to this movement. Your gloved hand has almost disappeared. It's really flicked under your right hand, where on my picture you're going to notice that you can actually see this kind of angle of my left hand. Also, what we see is we see the thumb and first finger here on your right hand, which is noticeably now round the side of the club, where it should still be more on top of the club at this point. So really your fundamental fix is going to be looking more at your grip in a bit more detail. You're going to have to start making sure your left and right hand are on that club correctly. Now what happens, because you've taken the club back outside of the line, so steeper than the plane you would want to swing the club back on, if you like. So if I put some plane lines on for you, so what you're going to see is the club moves back more on the outside of these lines. Also your hands get stuffed outside over the top of the plane here, where if we go back to my picture, I put the same plane lines on, you're going to notice how my club and hands move in between the middle of these two lines, where you've moved your hands and your club much more out towards the top line. This is quite a steep backswing. Now the reason you're doing this is that your backswing with your grip, how it's set at the moment, and the way you're working your wrist, is closing the club face. You're trying to fight this left shot, so you're taking it back steeper in an effort not to hook it too much, but then on the downswing you get much flatter. So you can see how the club now comes much more down on the inside track, hands more on the inside track, so you've got a bit of a loop going on, where if you watch my downswing again, it's coming more down the middle of the two lines. Again, more on plane. Your downswing is getting slightly under plane, slightly flat. I mean, it's good, it's better than the backswing, but the downswing is definitely trying to not hit the ball quick left, almost in an effort to try and push it out to the right, to let the closed club face draw the ball back to your target. Then also what we see, because you're scared of maybe the big hook left, you have very limited hip rotation on the way through. You can see how I open up my hips much more to target, where for you here your hips are still pointing off to the right of target, where your upper body has had a massive turn and is actually pointing left to target. That's putting a lot of strain on your lower back. So for me, Matt, it's a good swing. There's a lot of good movements in here, but I'd like to see a picture of your grip, or obviously watch any of my grip videos. You want to have a good in-depth look at your grip in relation to your club face, because the movement you're going to need to fix is this takeaway. You want the club coming straighter back from the ball, and you don't want the club face hooding, closing so much. At this stage you want to try and make sure that the club is pointing a little bit more toey end up to the sky, so this way with the club face, where for you we can see it's a little blurry on your picture, but you can still see the club face is much more hooded down at this stage. That's the key point you need to try and fix. Good swing though, Matt. Let me know how that helps you or doesn't help you. Hopefully it will, and I look forward to your comments.